back, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
And yes, this is episode number 3 for sure, you guys. And thank you so much for clicking over to our YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be discussing 3 tips on establishing a debt snowball plan. Okay. So, you guys, before I elaborate more about that, keep in mind too the very first thing you want to do before initiating these steps is establishing a budget.
Yes.
It's really, really important, very imperative. Okay. And the second thing, which will be baby step number 1, is getting that baby emergency fund of $1,000 established, okay? So with that said, let's move on to our main conversation. So the debt snowball was originated by yours truly, Dave Ramsey.
Baby step 2.
Baby step number 2, baby, for sure. So I'm gonna actually turn it to my wife and she's gonna be discussing with you guys tip number 1.
Yes, so tip number 1 is, if you remember in the last YouTube where we helped you set up your budget, you want to write down your smallest to your largest debt. This will help you plug in your debts into your budget. And then once you find out what your smallest debt is, you take any leftover cash at the end of your budget and throw it at the smallest debt. You want to make minimums on all your other debts. This will help you gain momentum. Once you're done paying off that smallest debt, then you can use all that extra cash and throw it towards the other debts. So you're able to not feel so overwhelmed, and you're able to gain momentum once you start seeing one's paid off, then the next one's paid off, and it's a really cool thing.
Yes, that's something that we've actually discovered when we were actually going through this journey. It really helped us push the envelope with us. It helped us progress. So keep in mind, momentum. So tip number 2, this is a cool one, and I'm sure you guys have contemplated this a lot about one card having a higher interest rate than another card. For example, you have a $5,000 credit card with a 20% interest rate, high interest rate, and then you have a $3,000 credit card balance that has maybe 10% interest rate. You will probably say, hey, let's pay off the highest interest rate. Well, that, if math was an issue, we would not be in this situation, right? So that's something that's really key. Just make sure to remember that. And also the main thing is actually, when we are doing this debt snowball and these baby steps, our plan is to make sure we get out of debt as fast as possible, okay?
Yeah.
So that's tip number 2. Don't worry about the interest rate, because we are trying to get out of debt fast. So let's make sure we focus on the smallest amount of debt and focus on that one, and then going for the second one, which then allows us to build momentum. So that's tip number 2.
Yes.
Interest rate does not matter. Tip number 3.
Great. And tip number 3 is celebrations. You have to have celebrations after you pay off one debt. For us, I don't think we did that the first few years.
Not at all.
It's been more recently that we've said, okay, we pay off this car payment. Our car is paid for.
Yeah.
Let's go celebrate. Let's go have a nice dinner.
Yes.
I know, right? Let's go have a nice dinner. Let's go to the city. There's been times where we've just kind of splurged a little bit. And even speaking of, we've set a goal of next April 2019 to finally be done with all of our debt.
Everything.
So we're coming up with ideas right now of different vacations that we want to do and goals that we have for next year. So it's all about celebrating those small victories. And like Murph said, it's about progress and not perfection. We have not been perfect these last 4.5 years.
Not at all.
But it's about what works for you, and just making sure that you celebrate even those small choices. It's very, very, very difficult. It's one of the hardest things that we've ever done. But you have to make sure and see the good and the positive and the celebrations and the victories out of it. So that's tip number 3.
You got it, for sure. And the reason why, I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of our video, you guys, but the reason why we actually are bringing this to your attention, because we have been getting a lot of people asking those questions, right? About how to establish a debt snowball, or where to start.
How did you pay off so much
debt?
debt?
How do you pay off a lot? How do you guys get to where you are today? And it was honestly one step at a time.
And this is how we did it.
Yes.
That snowball.
Yes. Right. Exactly how we did it, you guys. So patience is key, and perseverance is imperative. So make sure you guys don't give up. I'm here to support you guys, and you guys can reach out to me, Melissa, and we can answer any questions that you may have. And one thing I want to kind of leave you guys with before we recap this video is the fact that you guys are in a good place right now, because social media has really exploded. There's a huge community out there that will help challenge you, helps keep you accountable throughout this journey. because we didn't have that when we started. You know, we wish we did, but luckily, you know, me and my wife, we really were unified in a way that I'm so thankful for. So with that said, you guys, we're gonna do a quick recap, and we'll go from there. Take it away, babe.
So real quick, tip number 1 is pay off your smallest debt to your largest debt, and you want to focus on one debt at a time, putting all your other debts on minimum payments. Make sure you make those minimums. And step number 2 is don't focus on the interest rates on your debts. And step number 3, I think, is the best one.
Yes, me too.
We both do. Celebrating your victories. Celebrate your payoffs. Celebrate your small victories, and just make sure to in your celebrations document all of it, because you want to be able to look back and reflect how far you've come, and those times that you had those victories on those bad days. You want to be able to read those and remind yourself
how far
that you can do it, and you've come a long way. So thank you so much for watching and listening, and like Murph said, we're here to support you all.
Perfect. And like and subscribe, you guys. Have a good one. Peace.
Peace.